Thanks for watching, and of course, thanks for all the continued prayers, wishes, thoughts, etc. that you're sending. They're all very much appreciated. I thought I'd change the format a little for the next few updates. This time, I thought I'd give a quick run through what a chemotherapy cycle looks like for me. Different treatment plans for different patients will look potentially very different. I'll follow that with a short note regarding some of the chemotherapy side effects and the impact of living with a stomach. So I'll try and cover my hospital visits, a little thing called the chemotherapy pump, the side effects, illness, insomnia, and tiredness, and maybe a little note about emotional distress. Right. So I'm normally on a 2 week chemotherapy cycle. Week one is what we call my chemo week. On Monday, I go into hospital for my blood to be checked and tested for my immune system and platelet counts primarily. At the same time, I'll have the PICC line checked, cleaned, and redressed. Having the PICC line makes taking bloods far simpler, as it's also used for the chemotherapy delivery as well, but it does need a fair bit of care and attention all the time. Can't use my left arm for quite a lot of things. On Wednesday, I go in for my actual chemotherapy. The day starts with an anti-sickness tablet followed by an atropine injection, which is truly uncomfortable. Chemotherapy is currently delivered via a 1 hour electronic infusion, followed by a more rapid second chemotherapy drug infusion, the latter being delivered by a syringe, but both via the PIC. Also, via the PIC, I'm given steroids before the first infusion and various flushes during the day, as the different drugs all need different conditions and may be incompatible with the previous drug's flush or solvent, for the want of a better word. I'm then fitted with a continuous pressure pump. This is a smallish plastic container that contains a bubble inside which is chemotherapy drug. This is, as you might guess, connected to the PIC line. It's quite ingenious, designed so that using nothing more complex than atmospheric pressure, it delivers the correct dose of chemotherapy over a much longer period. In my case, that's around 4 to 6 hours. A slow drip through. This is a different chemotherapy drug to the primary infusion I have whilst I'm at the hospital. The pump is placed into a protective holder, and I then attach that to a belt and put it about my waist. The line being fed through underneath my clothing. For the next 2 days, this is my constant companion. It's a little tricky to manage, making sure I don't bump into things, clip it on the furniture, pull the line, and ensuring that the PIC line is unrestricted and unkinked. But you sort of get used to it. At night, the pump sits on my bedside table, and the line itself is placed over the top of my pillows so that if I move my arm, there's some freedom for that. I can't roll from side to side, but the stoma affects that anyway. On the Friday of week one, I go into hospital again to have the pump removed, and once again, the PIC line is checked, cleaned, and redressed. The PIC line has to be checked, cleaned, and redressed no longer than 10 days after it was previously done. So, Wednesday to Friday, I also have anti-sickness and steroid tablets that I have to take at home, morning and evening. Plus, the pump is making simple tasks like washing more interesting. Even sitting on the sofa is a small challenge sometimes. Week two is dominated by my immune system, but it's also the week where my immunity is building So theoretically, it's easier to get out and about or safer. From Saturday of week one, I have injections into my tummy, the flap around my tummy, uh, to stimulate my immune system. My immune system takes a heck of a pounding with each chemotherapy session, so much so that early on we were advised to self-isolate as much as physically possible. That changed with my worsening diagnosis, but still weighs heavily on our minds when we're out with people. The injections lasts 7 days, taking up the whole of the following week. Um, and the syringes need to be kept very cool in the fridge. So any sort of travel needs to take that into account. Also, limiting our movements. I have to be in a position to get to the syringes out of the fridge at 6 p.m. or so that I can inject them about 25 or 30 minutes later. So out of all of that, we're then left with Saturday, Sunday of week two, when my immune system is theoretically at its best and I don't have any drugs or hospital visits or such to worry about. None of the above, of course, discusses the daily side effects and general feel of going through this process. I have to keep a close eye on the output from my stoma, both for evidence of diarrhea or potentially even blood. On top of this, I have a pre-existing nasal drip and rhinitis. Both mean that I swallow a lot and that air passes through my system and into the bag. That means on a bad day, I can be emptying the bag, air out of the bag a fair bit, maybe even every 15 minutes, hopefully not for very long. This has happened a lot during the night, and it's not uncommon for me to have to get up to let air out of the bag 4, 6, maybe even more times. That leads to a lack of longer sleep. But to be frank, that's difficult anyway with everything that's whirring around constantly in our heads. So the diarrhea can make being out and about challenging. I have drugs to manage this when it happens, and so far they've done a good job. There's an additional set of drugs to help with constipation and nausea, but luckily I haven't needed those yet. Plus, I have been provided with preemptive antibiotics due to the increased chance of infection, and of course the increased impact of an infection. I had a very nasty UTI last year before I started chemotherapy, and I'd be very happy to avoid a recurrence. Leaks from the bag have been mercifully rare, but the latest was pretty messy and extremely smelly. I noticed it just before 5 in the morning, and all in all, the best part of 2 hours were taken up sorting it out, sorting me out, sorting my clothes, and the house generally afterwards. The previously mentioned lack of sleep, stress has left me tired a lot of the time. But my system isn't really suited to napping during the day, so I end up being calm and a little dozy sometimes, quite a lot of the time probably during the day. The emotional side of things is beginning to hit both of us a lot more often. Each passing day feels like, well, another day gone, but it is what it is. We get upset, we have dark thoughts, all sorts of things creep into the mind, and so forth. Mostly this passes quickly. Any sort of small or large thing may trigger such a response. It seems to be completely unpredictable. Um, but as I said at the beginning, all of your thoughts, prayers, wishes, virtual hugs, whatever they might be, are extremely welcome and they really do help. So, really, thank you. Right. Um, as I said, I will, in a later update, run through stoma bag change. Don't worry, I'm not going to flaunt my tummy at you. I may, though, use a fake stoma and bag to show the details as I'm going along. Okay, that's all I've got to say today. But if you have any questions, then please let me know. Bye for now.